We're digging deep into Romans chapter 16. If you haven't been with us, it'll surprise you. It's a listing of names where Paul said, greet Andronicus and Junius, greet Urbanus, greet Mary, greet Rufus, greet Priscilla and Aquila, greet Phoebe. 27 of those people were told to greet. And it's a long list. I'm not even sure how to pronounce most of the names. I've gone to resources that pronounce names for you and found that nobody agrees on how to pronounce some of these names. So anything close will count. But there's an easy name to pronounce, and that's a man by the name of Rufus. He's found in verse 13 where it says, greet Rufus, chosen in the Lord, and his mother, who has been a mother to me too. Now, an interesting note, the name Rufus comes up one other time in the Bible, and that is as Jesus was carrying his cross through Jerusalem to Golgotha, where he would die for the sins of the world. Somewhere along that journey that we now call the Via Dolorosa, he was collapsing, unable to get back up, and he could no longer carry his own cross. And a Roman centurion pointed to someone in the crowd and said, you carry the cross. And a man by the name of Simon of Cyrene, which would be Libya today, this man named Simon carried the cross of Jesus. But Mark adds a detail. Here's the detail. A certain man from Cyrene, Simon the father of Alexander, and Rufus was passing on his way in from the country, and they were forced to carry the cross. A couple of quick things to make a point. One, the man who carried the cross was Simon of Cyrene. But Mark records two sons, Alexander and Rufus, and then it says, passing on this way from the country, they forced him to carry the cross. So the cross is being carried by Simon, but he's got two sons there. One is named Rufus. Now here's what you might not know. Mark wrote the Gospel of Mark from Rome. And so when Paul writes a letter to Rome, and Paul's never been to Rome, somehow he knows that Rufus is there and that these people should know who Rufus he is and connect the dots. That scholars believe, in all probability, this is the same Rufus. Buried in this listing of Romans chapter 16 is a detail that the person who carried the cross of Christ had a son who was living in Rome, who would keep alive the story of the death of Jesus and say, I know it, I was there. There's a wonderful old hymn June Carter Cash made so popular. It goes like this. Were you there when they crucified my Lord? And the answer for Rufus was, yes, I was. You say, but what's that have to do with me? Well, the point of the song is this. Jesus didn't die for Rufus and Alexander any more than he died for you and he died for me. It was my cross that Simon was carrying, for it was my sins that nailed Jesus to the cross. Thanks for joining us tonight. Before I sign off and say goodbye, let me remind you of the food drive that's going on here in the chapel. It's really a citywide effort. It's not just our church. Many churches and many ministries are helping. This is a time when people are really counting on the kindness of others, and we want to be the hands and the feet of Jesus, and this is one of the best ways I know to do that. If you need more details, call the chapel office any weekday, 625-6200, and they'll give you more details.